You know, as we get a little older, let's say past 60, our bodies start sending us little signals. Maybe it's that extra bit of fatigue after a short walk, or that occasional heaviness in your chest after a meal. And if you've ever thought, that didn't used to happen, well, you're not alone. The truth is, what we eat plays a huge role in how we feel, especially when it comes to our heart health. Now, I'm not here to scare you, far from it. But I do want to talk about something important. The foods that might be quietly clogging your arteries without you even realizing it. Because here's the good news. Once you know what to look out for, you can make simple, smart choices that keep you feeling strong and energetic for years to come. So today, we're going to talk about 5 common foods that can sneak into our diets and cause trouble for our arteries after 60. Some of them might surprise you, others you may already have a hunch about. But by the end of this, you'll have a clearer picture of what to avoid and why. And don't worry, we'll keep it practical, no complicated science jargon, just straight talk, the way you'd chat with a good friend over coffee. Now let's start with the first food on our list, something many of us grew up loving and still enjoy today: processed meats. Processed meats. Bacon, sausages, hot dogs, deli slices. They're quick, they're tasty, and let's be honest, they've been a staple for years. But here's the problem. These meats are packed with sodium and preservatives, and worst of all, saturated fats, the kind that can raise your LDL cholesterol, that's the bad cholesterol, and slowly narrow your arteries. Think about it. When you fry up a few slices of bacon in the morning, that sizzle isn't just flavor, it's also fat soaking into every bite. And over time, that fat can build up in your blood vessels, making it harder for your heart to do its job. Now, does that mean you can never have bacon again? Of course not. But maybe save it for a special weekend treat and opt for leaner proteins like grilled chicken, turkey, or even plant-based options most days. Your heart will thank you. Next up, we've got something that might seem harmless, maybe even healthy at first glance: packaged baked goods. You know the ones: muffins, donuts, store-bought cookies, even some whole grain breads that are really just loaded with sugar and refined flour. These foods are often made with trans fats, artificial fats that food companies use to make products last longer on shelves. But trans fats are like kryptonite for your arteries. They not only raise bad cholesterol, but also lower the good cholesterol, HDL, that helps keep your arteries clear. And here's the sneaky part. They don't always say trans fats on the label. Companies can list partially hydrogenated oils instead, so you've got to keep an eye out. A better choice? Homemade treats where you control the ingredients, or better yet, satisfy your sweet tooth with fresh fruit or a handful of nuts. Now, before we move on to the next food, let's talk about something that ties these two together: moderation. Nobody's saying you have to give up every food you love. But being aware of what's really in these foods and how often you're eating them can make all the difference in keeping your arteries clear and your energy high. Speaking of energy, the next food on our list is one that might seem like it gives you a boost, but in reality, it's doing more harm than good. And that's sugary sodas and drinks. We'll dive into that and why even diet versions can be trouble right after this quick break. But for now, let me ask you, have you ever noticed how certain foods make you feel sluggish afterward? Maybe it's that mid-afternoon crash after a sugary snack. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. And if this is helpful so far, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps us keep making videos like this for you. Now, let's talk about that soda habit. You know, there's nothing quite like an ice-cold soda on a warm afternoon. That fizzy sweetness can feel like a little treat. But here's something you might not realize. Those sugary drinks, whether it's soda, sweetened iced tea, or even some fruit juices, are doing more than just quenching your thirst. They're flooding your body with sugar, way more than you'd ever sprinkle into your coffee or tea. And all that extra sugar, it doesn't just disappear. When you drink something loaded with sugar, your body has to process it fast, and that means turning it into fat including the kind that can build up in your arteries. Over time, this can lead to inflammation, higher cholesterol, and even insulin resistance, which is a stepping stone to diabetes. And let's be honest, after 60, our bodies just don't handle sugar the way they used to. Now, you might be thinking, well, I drink diet soda, no sugar, no problem, right? Not so fast. Research suggests that even artificial sweeteners can trick your body into craving more sweets, and some studies show they might still mess with your metabolism. So, what's the best thirst quencher? Good old water. Plain, sparkling, or with a squeeze of lemon or lime. If you miss the fizz, try seltzer with a splash of real fruit juice. Small changes, big payoff for your heart. Okay, let's move on to another big culprit, one that's crispy, golden, and oh so tempting. Fried foods. Oh, fried foods. Fried chicken, French fries, onion rings. They're the stars of diners and drive-thrus everywhere. But here's the thing. When food is dunked in hot oil, it soaks up tons of unhealthy fats, especially if that oil is reused, which it often is in restaurants. These fats can oxidize, meaning they turn into something even worse for your arteries. And just like with processed meats, that means more gunk building up where you don't want it, inside your blood vessels. Now, I'm not saying you can never enjoy something fried again, life's too short for that. But instead of making it a regular habit, try baking or air frying at home. You'd be amazed how crispy you can get chicken or potatoes with just a little olive oil and the right seasoning. And if you do eat out, opt for grilled or roasted dishes instead of fried. Your heart will still get the flavor, without the clog. Before we wrap up this part, let's touch on something that ties all these foods together: hidden dangers. It's not just about the obvious stuff, like a greasy burger, but the everyday choices that add up over time. Maybe it's that daily soda, or the quick frozen meal that's loaded with sodium and preservatives. The key is awareness. Once you know what to look for, you can make smarter swaps without feeling like you're missing out. And that brings us to our last food for today, one that might surprise you because it's often marketed as healthy. We'll talk about that, and why it's not as innocent as it seems, right after this quick break. In the meantime, I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever given up one of these foods and noticed a difference in how you feel? Maybe cutting back on soda left you with more energy, or swapping fried foods for baked made your joints ache less? Drop a comment below. Your experience could help someone else make a positive change. And if you're finding this helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe. It means the world to us, and it helps keep this community growing. Now let's talk about that so-called healthy food that might be sabotaging your arteries. You know, when it comes to eating well after 60, one of the trickiest things is figuring out what's actually good for you. Because sometimes, foods that seem healthy turn out to be anything but. Take margarine, for example. Years ago, we all heard that butter was bad and margarine was the heart-healthy alternative. But here's the truth. Many margarines and processed spreads are loaded with trans fats. Yes, those same artery-clogging fats we talked about earlier. Even if the label says trans fat-free, check the ingredients for partially hydrogenated oils. That's just a sneaky way of saying trans fats are still in there, just in smaller amounts. And over time, those small amounts add up. Now, does that mean butter is the better choice? Well, in moderation, real butter is actually less processed than margarine. But the healthiest option of all is using olive oil or avocado spread. They're packed with good fats that help clear your arteries instead of clogging them. Now let's talk about one last food that might surprise you: white bread, pasta, and rice. These refined grains have been stripped of their fiber and nutrients, leaving behind basically pure starch, which your body quickly turns into sugar. And just like with sugary drinks, that can lead to blood sugar spikes, inflammation, and yes, even artery trouble. The good news? Swapping to whole grains, whole wheat bread, brown rice, quinoa, or whole grain pasta gives you fiber that helps sweep cholesterol out of your system. Plus, you'll feel fuller longer and avoid those energy crashes. So, let's quickly recap the 5 foods we've talked about. Processed meats. Bacon, sausages, and deli meats loaded with saturated fats. Packaged baked goods, often hiding trans fats and excess sugar. Sugary sodas and drinks, spiking blood sugar and contributing to fat buildup. Fried foods, cooked in unhealthy oils that damage arteries. Margarine and refined grains, marketed as healthy but secretly working against your heart. Now, I don't want you to walk away from this feeling like you can never enjoy these foods again. That's not realistic, and it's no way to live. The key is awareness and balance. Maybe you switch to whole grain bread most days, but still enjoy a buttery croissant on Sunday mornings. Or maybe you save the fried chicken for a special occasion and bake it the rest of the time. Small changes really do add up. And here's something important to remember. You're never too old to start making healthier choices. Your body is amazing. It can begin healing and feeling better at any age. So don't think, well, I've eaten this way for decades. What's the point now? The point is, every good choice you make today helps you feel stronger, more energetic, and more you tomorrow. Before we go, I'd love to hear from you. Have you already cut out one of these foods and noticed a difference? Or maybe you found a great alternative that you'd like to share. Drop a comment below. Your tips might be exactly what someone else needs to hear. And if you found this video helpful, do me a favor, hit that like button, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. We're all in this together, and the more we share what works, the healthier and happier we can all be. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for watching. Here's to making small changes that lead to big, vibrant years ahead. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now. Bye for